Well,
right.
Laura Vorreyer pioneered the dog walking industry in Hollywood over 15 years ago and is the author of the book, The Pet Sitter's Tale. She's the owner of the pet care company Your Dog's Best Friend, a premier dog walking and pet sitting business in Los Angeles. She has taught pet sitting and dog walking classes in Los Angeles and is also a passionate advocate for animal rights. And she remains dedicated to pet rescue. She's with us this morning to give us some tips on what to do when you leave the house and you can't afford a pet sitter or somebody to take care of your animals. Good morning, Laura, and thank you for being with us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
Now, we did actually talk to you in December about your book. And so
I love that.
Yeah,
I remember.
And we had such a good time because it is a very entertaining book, a very funny book. And I was really thrilled to see that we were going to have you back. Now, the problem is that where you live, and where you work, it's not unusual for somebody to be able to afford to have somebody take care of your animals if you're gone during the day. But of course, most of us, we have animals, and if you're both working or if whatever you have going on, you have to leave them home by themselves, and often that can be a problem. How do you deal with that?
Well, that's tough. So it's especially tough if you're going to adopt or get a puppy and you don't have somebody who's going to come in during the day to get the puppy out of the crate, because they can only stay in that crate just as long as they are months, maybe give or take an hour or two. So if you have, like, let's say a 4-month-old puppy, the most you'd want to put them in the crate is maybe 4 or 5 hours at a time. If that makes sure that the puppy was exercised and fed and kind of will just sleep the whole time. So what a lot of people do who, like you said, they can't get someone come in or it's financial, whatever the reason is, they stagger their working hours with their spouse or other people in the family. So you might leave at 7 a.m. for work, but I'll leave at 9:30, but you'll be back earlier and I'll be back later, and then you've got kids coming and going. So I think if you can stagger your schedules, find a way to get that puppy out during the day, especially if it's being crated. It's just not fair to have to use the bathroom in its crate. So I say find a way, and you know what? People have neighbors. They want to come in and trades, and I do a lot of trades with people, especially when I first started. Gosh knows I'm still owed some cooking lessons and guitar lessons somewhere along the line. But you can do those trades. They work real well, and there's always people or some teenagers in the neighborhood are willing to come in and help you out as long as you can reciprocate down the road.
Yeah, we have some neighbors that whenever they go out of town, we do that. We go let their animals out, and they reciprocate in other ways because we really don't have the problem of not being home with our animals most of the time. But so you've got an animal that you were talking about puppies and training them and things like that, but John and I both have several full-grown animals, and you have to, at some point, you have to trust them. You can't keep them crated all the time, but you don't want them tearing up the house. What are some of the things that you can do to kind of alleviate their anxiety?
Sure, absolutely. Well, there's a lot of things you can do. And, let's face it, once our dogs get to a certain age and they outgrow that puppy stage and, they're past adolescence, they stop looking for trouble. They just want to lay on the couch. They just want to, have their toys. They want to sleep. They're creatures of comfort. My dog lays around all day. I mean, he doesn't look for any trouble whatsoever. He's happy when I come home. He's happy when I leave. He's just pretty happy. But if you have a dog that has separation anxiety, or maybe it's at that end of puppyhood or adolescence and you're just starting to trust them a little bit, leave those high-value treats and puzzles. If you can, obviously leave television or music on so they're not just listening for all the noises and it's making them crazy because they hear stuff going on outside. So leave on the radio, leave on television, but give them those high-value treats. And they have a lot of, puppy puzzles and toys on the market now, and you want to put those out for your pet when you leave and pick them up when you come back. So when they see them come out, they know you're leaving, and that's a good thing. They don't relate that to them being anxious, and that's, oh my gosh, they're going to be alone, and that's a terrible thing. They see those high-value treats and goodies come out, and now it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, boy, I get to play now. This is something
and
new.
Freeze things. You would be amazed at how many things you can freeze. They have They have, like I always tell people when they get puppies and the puppies start to teeth, take a washcloth, put it under some water, and freeze them. You could freeze a stack of them, and when you leave, give it to your puppy to gnaw on.
Oh,
Freeze
how
peanut
good.
butter. Yeah, it's good. It helps them so many ways. So if you can give your dog frozen treats, it's going to tire them out because they're going to have to chew through whatever frozen to get to that treat, and they're tired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they
work.
work them out. That's absolutely
That's
true.
right.
Unless they're like, we had a Boston Terrier that just had jaws of steel. And so, John has a question for
I
you.
do.
Some dogs you're not going to tire out, let's face it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just wondered, we've always been curious, and I know you work with dogs for a long time. Do they have any perspective of time like we do? I mean, I have a blue heeler that's awfully smart, but I don't think he can read the clock. I really don't.
Okay, now here's the thing. They say dogs live in the moment, but I'll tell you something. At 5 o'clock every day, if I am working at my computer and it is 1 minute past 5, because that's when I feed Dexter, Dexter will come in and give me the death stare. And then if it goes too long, he'll come in and just put one paw on my leg, and he'll just look at me. So I think they might not have a sense of time, but they definitely know when they're hungry.
Well,
So-
you have a better behaved dog than we do. We've got 4 dogs that and we feed them at 5 o'clock in the evening too. And if it comes around 4:30, I mean they're all bouncing around and giving us the weird noises and barking occasionally, and they're trying to lobby to get an early supper.
Yeah,
So,
right. And then they want a
the time
treat.
change messes them up so much.
Oh yeah,
doesn't it?
it really does.
Yeah, they don't know about the clock. But I just wondered, as far as conceptually, we worry about sometimes when dogs are left. How do you feel about dog doors and fences and all that? Is that, if you've
great.
got
I
that
love
luxury,
it.
that's good stuff, isn't it?
I love it. I love having a dog door. The only thing you got to worry about, and now I have a lot of clients out here who have dog doors, is you got to worry about those critters from the outside coming in the dog door. So I always suggest locking them in at night because you don't want, you want to open up your kitchen door and you got a coyote there. So
it's
you
not
want
a
to
good
make
deal.
sure that, you're locking the critters out as much as you're locking your pet in. But if you can trust your pet outside, the other thing is, depends on your yard, depends on your pet. If your pet's going to go outside and catch things and bring them inside, maybe not so
Not
much.
a good
But
plan, no.
yeah, not a good thing. But you just have to know your pet. You
Sure.
just have to kind of understand their body language and, what their experience is like. Most pets, they're easygoing. They go outside, they use their business, they look around, they come back inside. They want to be where it's comfortable.
Oh,
They,
absolutely.
it's hot. They don't want to hang out outside all
They
day.
love
want to
comfort.
Be inside.
And what's
Yeah,
this?
they do.
What's this business about? Last night, I was the strangest thing. One of our dogs decided he needed to fluff up the carpet. And I've never in my life seen a dog scratch so hard. And, it didn't change anything at all. Obviously, he didn't tear up the carpet. But I just thought it was weird. That's a primal instinct, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's left over from before when dogs were domesticated. And what they would do is they go in circles. And so a lot of times when they go in circles, that is left over from long time ago, ancient ancestry. So they would walk in circles in a little area that they intended to sleep on, and that would make sure that it would do a couple things. Clear out any critters or rodents or, reptiles, whatever might be there that they didn't want to accidentally sleep on.
Right.
And then it would kind of make it sort of padded nicely for them, and it would be an area that they would mark with their scent, too. So they'd circle, and my dog does that, too. It's the strangest thing. He also scratches on the carpet to fluff it up, and I have, very, fine carpeting, so I don't love that.
It didn't damage anything, but the sound drives me crazy. But they
Oh,
are
I know.
wonderful, and there's no question about it. They become part of the family. They wrap their little paws around your heart is what they do.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. I know I love my dog Dexter so much. I call him my canine soulmate. And every year that I've had him, he's gone, we've been through so much together. I've had him for over 10 years now, and I think, oh my gosh, you really become you're one. You think the same. You know each other. They just really get you. And
You
even
bet.
when you're not feeling good, I wasn't feeling good the other day, and I didn't want to get out of bed. And Dexter, he wouldn't go. He didn't go out of bed. He didn't leave to get his breakfast. He just stayed right next to me.
They know when you're happy and they know when you're sad. They really have a sense. And I think it's God's gift to mankind, but that's just my personal view. I really do.
I think you're right. It's mine too, and their only fault is that they don't live longer.
Yeah, that's my wife says the same thing. There ought to be a little way you could say, okay, I'm probably going to live to about 85, so we'll just, okay, you too.
Yeah, right?
That's the hard
I think
part.
they're working on it. Yeah, it is hard. I mean, they're here for such short time, but I think that they do have something to teach us, and they enhance our lives so much. It's just so good that you guys have pets, and you get this. I really love that.
Well, and not to digress from what you do, and we just want people to get online and find out all they can, because taking care of animals, number one, they need a lot of exercise. Number two, you need to take care of them medically, and they really need that. And if you're not signed on for that, then I wouldn't have a pet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, you're absolutely right. People, they don't put a lot of thought into it, and they don't kind of see the future. But there's a lot of ways to alleviate some of that expense, and I know people feel the pinch all the time. But there are a lot of vaccines and mobile clinics that come through towns, and they offer free spay and neutering. They offer sliding scale checkups. They do, vaccine clinics. So, and also there's pet insurance, So there are a lot of things that you can do to kind of cut the corners on the cost of your vet bill, but you're going to have to shell out some bucks. That's just part of the deal.
That's part of the deal. Absolutely.
Well, I know that we have actually gone over our time, but we love talking to you, and it's hard to let you go, but we know we have to. So, Laura, thank you so much for being with us this morning. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Where can we go to find more information on this?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So check out my site. It's The Pet Sitter's Tale, TALE.com, or you can just buy my book right on Amazon.
All right. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thanks. Nice to talk to you.
You too.
Nice visiting with you. Thank you so much.